So let's move on towards the last topic of this week, that is super mesh analysis. As we have already discussed, uh, that whenever a current source is present in mesh analysis, it is not possible to calculate the voltage across that current source, because ideally we are assuming that current sources provide a specific amount of current irrespective of the voltage that is built across it, right? So that means we cannot calculate the voltage across a current source. So whenever a current source is present in any circuit and we need to solve that circuit using mesh analysis, there are two types of scenarios. The first scenario that we have already discussed earlier is that the current source is a part of only one loop, and when the current source is part of a single loop, then the loop current, that is the mesh current, becomes equal to the source current, and accordingly we can solve the rest of the circuit. But in cases where the current source is part of more than one loop, then what we need to do is we need to follow a procedure or the method which is called super mesh analysis technique. In super mesh analysis technique, in the very first step, we need to negate the effect of current source. The effect of current source is negated by making currents is equal to 0, right? That means that the current source will be opened, and when the current source will be opened, it is evident that any element which is connected in series with the current source will also get opened. That means the whole branch will get opened. So we open the current source, but the important thing is that the loop currents are still different. That is why we call that particular circuit as a super mesh. What is a super mesh? It involves more number of currents than the number of loops, right? Previously we discussed super nodes. The number of voltages were more than the number of nodes, right? Here in this case, the number of mesh currents will be more than the number of loops, right? We will also see this in the example, which means that when we will be sorting out the equations, we will be one, two, or three equations short in determining the unique solution. For example, we shorted one current source, and the system had total three mesh or three loops. So we will be able to determine only two loop equations. We will be short of one equation. And how we determine that remaining one equation? By applying KCL to the node involving the current source, right? So this is just an explanation, and then we will also look at the numericals. It says that if a current source is present between two loops, it is solved by open circuiting the current source and then following the same procedure for mesh analysis. That particular mesh where we have open circuited the current source, that becomes, or that is called a super mesh. Why it is called a super mesh? Because it involves more than one currents in a single mesh, right? It involves more than one currents in a single mesh. That is why it is called a super mesh. And since it involves more than one current in a super mesh, in a single mesh, that means, or a single loop, that means we will be short of equations to obtain unique solution, right? So this is what's written here, is that the resulting system of equations are lesser than the number of variables. So we need to make additional equations by applying KCL to the node involving the current source which were opened earlier in order to obtain unique solution. The summary about the super mesh analysis is just that whenever there is a current source involving uh, or which is a part of more than one loop, then we need to open circuit that particular current source, and we need to find additional equations, or we need to form additional equations by applying KCL on the node of current source, right? So these 2 points are the ones which you need to remember. Otherwise the procedure is same as mesh analysis, and we will also look at this procedure in upcoming examples, that is how to solve a circuit using super mesh analysis technique. Okay, now let's move on towards a few examples of super mesh analysis. Question is the same. Find the mesh currents for circuit shown in given figure. And let me remind you again that you have to identify yourself whether the mesh or super mesh analysis will be involved. It is not necessary that it will be mentioned that you have to apply super mesh analysis. You have to identify yourself by looking at the nature of current source present in the circuit. So let me draw the circuit. Okay, let Okay, so this is our question here, and now you can see that in this particular question we have to find the mesh currents, and since we have to find the mesh currents, we need to first identify how many loops are there in the system. So this is our loop number 1. Loop and mesh are almost the same thing, so you can use these terms interchangeably, right? So this is I1 and this is I2, and it is pretty much clear that we have a current source of 6 amperes which is a part of both these loops, right? So that means this forms a super mesh. Right, now what you need to do in the very first step, once you have marked the loops, assign them currents and identified that this is the case of a super mesh, so what you need to do is open circuiting the current source and open circuiting the current source and 2 ohm resistance connected in series with it, right? Connected in series with it. And since we can see that once we open the 2 ohm resistance, once we open this 2 ohms 6 amperes source, then this path will be left open. Once we are opening this 6 ampere source, then this path will be left open, and once this path is left open, there will be no current through the 2 ohms resistance, right? So there will be no use of 2 ohms resistance. Let me show it by redrawing the circuit also, right? So this will be 20 volts, 6 ohms, and then we have 10 ohms and 4 ohms, right? Here you can see that this 2 ohms is of no use. Why? Because since this branch is open, so there will be no current through this 2 ohms resistance, and since there will be no current through this 2 ohm resistance, so there is no significance of this branch in the circuit. We can also remove it, right? Now this is what we call a super mesh. Why it is called a super mesh? Here you can see that in half part, right, in half part current I1 is flowing, and in the remaining half part current I2 is flowing. It is forming a complete loop. That means it is a single loop, right? It is one loop, but it is involving how many currents? I1 as well as I2. I1 and I2, that means a single loop involves two currents. So this is the case of a super mesh, right? Now the next step that you need to follow is applying KVL to the super mesh. Clear? And you can see that this here now the current is entering negative terminal of the source, so it will be minus 20, and the polarities that we are not defined here, let's define them. Plus V 6 ohms plus V 10 ohms plus V 4 ohms is equal to 0, right? 20. Here now you can see that the 6 ohm resistance is carrying how much current? I1. So its voltage will be 6 times of I1. Similarly, the 10 ohm resistance, it will be 10 times of I2. Why I2? Because the current through the 10 ohm resistance is I2 plus 4 I2 is equal to 20. So, or we can write it as 6 I1 plus 14 I2 is equal to 20, and this will be our equation number 1, right? Now you can see that we have got only one equation involving two variables, so it is not possible to apply KCL to have a unique solution for this problem. That means we are short of one equation. And how do we find that one equation? By applying KCL at the node involving the current source. That means we need to apply KCL either at this node, let's name it as node X, or at this node. Any one of the node we can apply KCL, right? So let's start by applying KCL at node X. Let's say that we are applying KCL at node X. Applying KCL at node X, right? So whenever we are applying KCL at node X, here you can see it involves three branches: the 6 ohm branch, 2 ohms branch, and 10 ohms branch. Now you can see, just focus here, that how much is the current approaching or leaving from the node from this 6 ohms branch, right? The current is approaching in this manner. And what is the mesh current that is approaching? It's I1. I1 current is approaching towards the node, right? This is node number X, node under consideration. And how much current is approaching the node? I1. So and since it is approaching the node, so you will be writing what? You will be writing plus I1, right? Similarly, the current through this 10 ohms branch is now I2 and it is leaving. Here you can see that this current is now leaving the 10 ohms branch. This current is now leaving the 10 ohms branch, right? So, and since it is leaving, so it will be minus I2. And what will be the current through the 2 ohms branch? It will be the same as the source current, and it is entering here. Since they are connected in series, and we know that in series combination the current remains the same, that means this 2 ohms branch will have the same current, and it is entering node X, so it will be plus 6 amperes. Plus 6 is equal to 0, right? Or you can write as I1 minus I2 is equal to minus 6, and this will be our equation number 2. right? Now let's suppose some of you might think what would have happened if we applied KCL to, let's say, node Y in the system. What would happen if we applied KCL to node Y in the circuit? Okay, so if we apply here KCL at node Y, KCL at node Y here, now we can see again that this node Y involves 3 currents. 6 ampere current, the source current, is now leaving the node, right? So it will be how much? Since it is leaving the node, it will be or -6, right? Understand? And now we can see that the current I1, its direction is in this way, right? The current I1 is now leaving node Y, right? So it will be -6 minus I1, right? And what about current I2? I2 current here is now approaching. This is the direction of I2, right? So it is now approaching node Y. So it will be plus I2 plus I2 is equal to 0, right? Is that clear? So here you can see that it will also yield the same equation. If we just rearrange the terms, it will be I1 minus I2 is equal to -6, right? So these here you can see are the same equations. So either we apply KCL at node X or we apply KCL at node Y, the resulting system, the resulting equation will be same. And now when you are solving this resulting system of equations, it will give you the final result of mesh currents, right? So it will yield solving equation 2 and 1 will yield the mesh currents, right? And you people can solve them with the help of calculators as we have previously discussed, right? So let's move on towards the final example of this topic, and the statement of question is still the same. Solve the given circuit using mesh analysis, and I am drawing the circuit here. 2 ohms, then we have a source of magnitude 5 amperes, and finally we have a resistance of 4 ohms, further 2 ohms, then we have a source of 10 volts, a resistance of 8 ohms, right? And have a dependent current source of 3 I0, and I0 is the current through this branch, right? And finally we have a 6 ohms resistance with, okay, so this is the layout of our question. Okay, let's now analyze this question. Here we can see that this question has 4 loops here, so let's mark them. Consider it as loop number 1, right, with current of I1. Then we have this loop number 2 with a current of I2, and this here we have loop number 3 with a current of I3, and then we also have a loop number 4 with a current of I4, right? So here we have 4 loops, and now the next thing we need to analyze is the current sources. Here we can see that this particular question involves 2 current sources of different types, right? The first one is an independent current source, which is here, right? This one is an independent current source of 5 amperes, and the second one is a CCCV, current controlled current source, which is a dependent one of 3 I naught. And what is I naught? I naught is the current through the 10 volts source. So I naught current is also mentioned. It is always the case that whenever we have a dependent current source, then always the depending element is also mentioned in the circuit, right? So that makes how many that makes 2 current sources, and both the current sources are between common in more than one loops, right? When we are talking about a 5 ampere source, it is common between loop 1 and loop 4, whereas the 3 I naught source, the dependent current source, is common between loop 1 and loop 2, right? Since both the current sources are a part of more than one loop, that means it becomes the case of a super mesh, right? The first step, of course, here is to open circuit the current sources. So that's right, open circuiting the current sources, right? So redrawing the circuit, this path will be eliminated. Why? Because once it is the current source is open circuited, there will be no current through this path, and same will be the case for this path also, that once the current source is open circuited, there will be no current through this path. So both these paths will be open circuited, right? So if we redraw the circuit, it will look like a bit like this, right? Ohms, 4 ohms, 2 ohms, 6 ohms, this will be open circuited, this is also open circuited, 8 ohms, and 10 volts, this will be I naught, right? Okay, so here you can see that now how many loops have we got? So in this case we have only 2 loops left. This one here is here whose current is I3, right? And now this is a super mesh. Why it is a super mesh? Because it is a single mesh involving multiple currents. How it is involving multiple currents? You can see that through the 6 ohms resistance, which value of current is flowing? I1 is flowing, right? So here I1 is flowing, right? And through the 2 ohms resistance, which value of current is flowing? I4 is flowing. So here I4 is flowing. Through the 4 ohms resistance, which current is flowing? I2 is flowing. Now I hope you are clear about it, right? So this will be the current, and of course we need to define the polarities also, plus minus, plus minus, plus minus, plus minus, plus minus, right? So now let's apply KVL to loop number let's apply KVL to loop number 3 is through the super mesh first. Okay, applying KVL to super mesh, and it's we can see here that plus V6 ohms, Y plus because the current is entering the positive terminal. Similarly, plus V2 ohms plus V4 ohms plus V8 ohms is equal to 0, and 6 ohms it will be 6I1, since we know that the voltage is the product of resistance and current, plus 2 times of I4 plus 4 times of, I'm sorry, this is I think not I4, this is, let me check, this is I2, right? I think this I wrote it by mistake, so this is not I4, this is I2. Yes, 4 times of I2 plus 8 times, and since I2 current is entering the positive terminal, so it will be plus I2 and minus I3. Why? Because I3 current is entering the negative terminal, equals to 0. Clear? And I hope it will be clear now. 6I1 plus 4I2 plus 8I2 plus 12I2 minus 8I3 plus 2I4 is equal to 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1 we have solved, right? So this is our equation number 1. This is our equation number 1. Fine. Okay, so now moving towards the loop number 3, which is pretty much easy as compared to the super mesh. Applying KVL to loop number 3, right? Now here we can see that for the 8 ohms resistance, the current is entering the negative terminal, so it will be minus V8 ohms plus V2 ohms plus 10 equals to 0, right? And here we know that minus V8 ohms will be equal to 8 times minus 8 times of minus I3 plus I2. Why? Because I3 is entering the negative terminal, I2 is entering the positive terminal, plus V2 ohms. V2 ohms is here, and it is it will be 2 times of I3 plus is equal to, rather we can write minus 10, so it will be minus 8 I2 plus 8 I3 plus 2 I3 plus 10 I3 is equal to minus 10, and this will be our equation. Let me show it properly. I hope it is now clear, right? And this will be our equation number 2. Now you can see that in this particular question we have determined 2 equations, right? We have determined 2 equations, but the main question involved 4 loops, right? And since the main question involved 4 loops, which means that there must be 4 equations. On the other hand, on the contrary, we have determined only 2 equations. Why? And this is the purpose of solving this question is to let you know that this is not always the case that you are only 1 equation short. In this particular question, you were 2 equations. You are in fact 2 equations short, right? So let's try to find the remaining equations. How can we find the remaining equations? Now we have to return to our main question, and we have to apply KCL to those nodes where which we open circuited, right? Let me address it. Okay, so now you can see that basically this is one node where the source are connected, this is the second node, and this is the third node, node X, node Y, and node Z, right? So we can apply KCL, and we need to apply it at 2 points. Here you can see that one node is common, so let's apply KCL at the uncommon nodes at node X and node Z. Why? Because one node is common between these 2 points. So let's apply KCL at node X, applying KCL at node X. What will it result? Here you can see from node X, this current is entering, right? Here is the direction of this current. It is entering the node and then moving in this manner, right? So it means it is entering. So which current is this? I1. So I1 will be taken as positive. Why? Because it is entering the node. Similarly, you can see that there is a current leaving, and this current is I4. So minus I4, right? And we can also see that a constant 5 ampere current is also leaving. So minus 5 is equal to 0. So it will become I1 minus I4 is equal to 5 amperes, and this will be our equation 3, right? So I hope it is clear now. And the next step that we need to do is apply KCL to node Z, right? So applying KCL to node Z. Now when you are applying KCL to node Z, again you need to check out that here one current is leaving this node, and what is the value of leaving current? It is I1, and since it is leaving, so its direction, its sign will be negative. Similarly, there is a current approaching this node, right? And what is the value of this current? I2, and since it is approaching, its direction will be I2. And here you can also see that the current from the source is also entering, so it will be plus 3I0 is equal to 0, or in other words, you can see say that this is the fourth equation. But remember that there is a problem with this 4 equations. When we defined 4 equations, why there were 4 equations? Because there were 4 loops, right? And why there were when there were 4 loops, we assigned the loop current as I1, I2, I3, and I4. That means all the 4 equations should be in terms of variables I1, I2, I3, and I4. Equation 1, 2, and 3 are in terms of variables I1, I2, I3, and I4, right? But when we are looking at this equation, here an additional variable, a fifth variable, I0 is present. Now we need to get rid of this variable I0 so that we can obtain a unique solution. So how can we solve or replace this variable I0? Any idea? How can we replace this variable I0 from our circuit? Right? So here we can see that when we analyze the circuit and see that where this variable I0 is present in the circuit, so we come to this point, right? Loop number 3, where this value I0 is present. Now we need to replace I0 with a combination of either I1, I2, I3, or I4, which are our designated variables, right, for the loop currents. When we inspect the circuit, we can see that I0 is basically the current which is flowing from loop number 3, right? This is I0. It is coming from this direction and then going into this direction, because there is no other path for the distribution of current, right? This is what? This is I0. And now you can see that in the same path, the loop current I3 is flowing. since their paths are same, so I0 and I3 will be what? Will be equal. But one more thing that we need to see is that their directions are different. I0 here is leaving this positive terminal of the battery and moving from the battery towards this 2 ohm resistance, whereas I3 is in opposite direction, it is coming from the resistance towards the battery. So that I0 and I3 will be equal in magnitude, or in fact they are equal in magnitude, but they will be opposite in direction. And since I0 and I3 are opposite in direction, that means I0 will be equal to minus I3, right? So here we write, we can inspect from the circuit that I0 is equal to minus of I3, which means minus I1 plus I2 minus 3I0 is equal to 0, right? This is our equation number 4. And now how many equations we have? 4 equations with 4 unknowns, right? So we can easily solve these 4 equations in order to find out the mesh current. I hope it is clear now, and let me repeat the question again, right? First of all, this question was like this. The first step we did was to identify the nodes, identify the loops in the system, and we found out that there are 4 loops in the system, right? We assigned them loop currents as I1, I2, I3 and I4, no issue in that. And then we analyzed that this particular circuit contains 2 current sources basically. The first current source is an independent current source of 5 amperes magnitude, and the second current source is a dependent current source of 3 I0 magnitude. So since both these current sources were part of more than one mesh, so that creates the case of a super mesh. We open circuited the current sources and our resultant circuit look like this. Loop I3 has no issue, but here a super mesh is formed, and it is a perfect example of how a single mesh can have more than 2 currents also, because in the previous example we saw a single mesh had 2 currents, but here the mesh is same. There is a super mesh and it has I1, I4 and I2. That means a single mesh can have more than 2 currents also. At the moment it has 3 currents, so we applied super mesh. So we applied super mesh to this question, right? Applied KVL to this super mesh and then to loop number 3, and then we came back to the circuit, and since we were short of 2 equations, so we decided to find out those equations by the help of KCL at the nodes. We found out that there were 3 nodes, so we applied KCL at node X and node Z. KCL at node X gave us equation number 3. KCL at node number Z basically gave us an equation 4, but that equation involved an additional variable I0. So in order to convert I0 into I1 to into mesh currents, that is from I1 to I4, we inspected the circuit and we found out that I0 and I3 are flowing in the same branch but with opposite direction, which means that I0 and I3 are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. So we replaced I0 with I think, just wait a minute. So we replaced I0. I have mistakenly still written here I0, it will be I3. So we replaced I0 here with I3, and now we have 4 resulting equations. We can solve them linearly, and this ends our week number 5, which was related to mesh analysis, and I hope that this week is clear to you all that how can we solve a circuit using mesh analysis. Up till now we have studied 2 major techniques for circuit analysis. The first one was nodal analysis, in which there was a subpart regarding to supernode analysis, and the second one was mesh analysis, in which there was a subpart for super mesh analysis. So I hope these topics are clear now. If you have any question, you can ask them, and till now it's goodbye.